Welcome back to the Bleav in Badger Football Podcast on the Bleav Podcast Network, presented by betonline.ag. Once again, I'm your host, Matt Perkins, joined, as always, by Badger legend, the Hebrew Hammer himself, Matt Bernstein. Matty, how are we doing today?
Man, we are good. Finally got a running back. You know, one of my favorites to boot. I'm thrilled. Can I introduce him?
Please. I've been hoping you would do this forever.
This guy's got just as good, if not better, a nickname than I do. This is Big Play. John Clay. And if you have his cell phone number, if you update your contact, boom, his picture and Big Play comes up. And I couldn't be happier when that happened. John, thanks for being here, man.
Of course, man. Thanks for having me, man. I was just waiting my turn to get invited to the show after I was watching everybody else's. So,
you know, we got to start with AD. That's been my guy since day one at Wisconsin. But it's funny, I didn't really know you at all when you were at Wisconsin, but we became very good friends, if I'm okay to say that. You're like one of my favorite people after college.
How did you guys get linked up in the first place?
We didn't we just meet at an event in the city?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it was something for Ron Dane. He was getting something in New York, and then we just hit it off since then. We've just been close since then.
Dude, I've had John come to like my friends and my New York high school friends. He came to their Memorial Day. Like we've been going to the bars together. John was there when I met my wife at Wando. So like it's crazy. I just think it's so cool. It's so crazy. But dude, I'm thrilled to see you. I just wish we could have done it in Madison, but the podcast isn't a terrible place.
Everything happens for a reason, you know.
My dream is to do a live show at Wando's one day.
Dude, my dream is to do a live show at Wando's. I know Big Play likes smoking cigars. I want to smoke a cigar with this guy. So
it has to happen, man.
Dude, it's good. It will. I'm not nervous about it. I promise. I'm not nervous about it. All right, so let's just get right into it. I mean, John, you grew up in Racine. What made you start playing football?
To be honest, I started playing baseball at first, and then I talked to my dad. I was like, that's kind of boring. I was like, I want some contact sport. I want a contact sport, and then my dad was like, all right, let's give football a try. And then at first, I wasn't even a running back. I was like a tight end, and then kind of running back went down, and then my dad was telling him, like, he's fast, like he can run the ball too. So then I got the chance to run a couple times, and then never looked back after that.
Wait, so what year was that? Like, how old were you? What was your size? Because you're a bigger running back.
Yeah, so I started playing when I was like 8 or 9, and then I was always taller than the rest of the people in my class, just because that's just how I was built. And like my 8th grade year, my 8th grade year, I was maybe like 6'1", over 200 pounds going into high school. And then when I got to high school, I grew another inch, and then I got to 220 as a freshman, 6'2", 220 as a freshman. So then it kind of just stuck on me then.
They didn't know what to do with you then, did they? Did they have you playing running back from day one in high school, or was there some older guys ahead of you? They have you moving around some other positions?
I didn't even play with my freshman team. I went straight to sophomore, started running back, and then when the playoffs came, I was a starting outside linebacker when I played for Park High School. And as a freshman, I started the playoff game as an outside linebacker.
Did you ever have a desire to stick on the defensive side, or did you always want to be running the ball?
I want to be on the offensive side, man. I didn't care too much of doing all the hitting.
Which is funny because, like, your style of play, at least, from my vantage point in the stands, you're a physical running back, man. You did not shy away from contact. So that's surprised me a little bit.
Yeah, it is. I guess it's on the offensive side, you get a little more glory to doing the hitting and pounding, and then you get rewarded with a touchdown or something like that. So that softens the blow.
Dude, wait, so as a little kid, you didn't have to play like on the line or anything like that? Because for me, I had to wear, they would never do. It's like fat shaming now, but I had to wear a double X, like two X's of duct tape on my helmet to say this dude is so heavy and fat that he can only play guard and defensive end. Like there was no other positions. I couldn't do anything else.
I always played running back, and then when I was playing, like when you got up so many points, the other team can take away two people, they star players, and we couldn't touch the ball anymore. So then that's when I just started playing defense, and then just started hitting everybody in. So I couldn't touch the ball.
That's
awesome.
wild.
That's
you can
awesome.
Take away two people to not touch the ball. Wisconsin football is different, man.
Oh, yeah.
It's just
that was a big rule back then when I was playing in like Pop Warner, all that. Like once you got up so many points, it was a continued clock, and then the coaches got to pick two of the players that they won't touch the ball anymore. So I was always the one that never got to touch the ball.
Dude, that's awesome. They're like, nah, John Clay, we don't want him to touch the ball ever again. So what happens from sophomore year, junior, and senior year? Because you were an All-American, one of the most recruited running backs. What was that process like? Like when was like it like clicked in your head? You're like, wow, I could do this.
Actually, when I probably got my first offer my freshman year from Western Michigan. They was the first one. I got my first college letter from and everything. It was the first one to send me something, and I was just like, man, I can kind of take this somewhere if I, focus in. So then the next couple of years, my sophomore year, we didn't do too good as a team. We went like 3-6, but I was all first team county and all that stuff, all state. And then like I kind of locked in real hard going into my junior year with just training, having a trainer, just working out, doing all that stuff. And then that was like I was like almost like untouchable my junior year just because I just locked in and dedicated all my training to that summer. I ran track my junior year. It was just, that's when everything, the ball started clicking for me. We won state my junior year. Got to go to Camp Randall. Had the record there for the longest until somebody just broke it. Maybe like 5-6 years ago, they just broke my state record. Actually, I think it was one of the linebackers from Wisconsin.
Was it Leo Chenal who did it? It might have been Leo Chenal. Him and his brother were both playing both playing running back and linebacker in high school, and I think it might have been him.
It was one of the linebackers that went to Wisconsin. They broke my record there, so I was happy with that. It was a Wisconsin badge, so I was cool with that. But and then my junior year I ran track, and my senior year I just focused strictly on football and just getting healthy and stuff like that. And then I was fortunate enough to get a lot of offers from a lot of places, and then I got an offer from Wisconsin.
What's a lot of places?
Yeah, I was gonna say, what is a lot of places?
A lot of places. I'll say almost pretty much any D1 powerhouse that you can think of, from like USC to Texas to the Michigan State, all that.
I mean, let's not get it twisted, guys. You were the number one running back in the country in high school. Like you were the guy. You were the.
Yeah, it was a funny because we talked from time to time. It was for the country. It was like me, Noel Devine, and then Chris Rainey. We was always going for the top 3 for that class, our class.
Man, you and Noel Devine could not be built any more differently either.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
he was tiny, but he was the fastest dude in the world.
Yes. And then the fortunate thing, I got to play with both of them, at least against them in Army All-American game.
Mm-hmm.
So I was able to reconnect with them again, and then we all went our separate ways, and we still chat from here and there. But I was able to get a bond with them. I actually got to play with Chris Rainey for a year at least with the Steelers because he was there.
So
that's so cool.
Yeah, that's amazing. So,
so
let's talk about the recruiting process a little bit more. So we obviously you pick Wisconsin, but I assume you took your other 4 official visits as well.
Yeah, actually I was going to take 3 of them. I went to Iowa, went to Wisconsin, and then I was supposed to go to Iowa State when they were number 1 in they were going against the number 2 Michigan at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like a big snowstorm we had here, something like that. And I didn't get a chance to make it out there. And then I talked to the coaches there, and they were like, oh, he would have met, Eddie George, Michael Jordan, all of them in the luxury boxes and all that stuff like that. I was like, well dang, I was just going with another game. I would have got the nice to meet them.
But
so I didn't get a chance to go there, but they used to come to my school all the time. All of like Michigan, Ohio State, Wisconsin, all those guys used to come to my high school all the time. And the perks of that, you get to see all those schools, and other kids get to see the recruiting process that never really got a chance or never really would have had a chance to see what on with it and how they come about and come up here. And, they even came to my track meets too. So it was crazy.
Dude, I have another question, but dude, it's crazy. This guy pulled me out of math class. Todd Bradford, who was the cornerback. So this is before you. He pulled me out of math class. People were pissed. Like, why does Bernstein get to leave? I was like, man, that guy's from Wisconsin. He wants to talk. I was like, see you later, suckers. I gotta go.
Yeah, I got the Ohio State guys. They came and pulled me out of my Spanish class. They had all their jewelry on, all their rings and stuff like that. So I was like, it's trying to flash off their jewelry, So
it's kind of cool. Yeah, it's kind of cool. But it's also really weird. I mean, I think Bradford also came, maybe him, but he came to like a basketball game I played in. It was just like bizarre. Like these dudes would show up to like random things.
Yeah.
Which to go from like possibly meeting Michael Jordan, and all these things, and Ohio State, Michigan, Iowa, and Wisconsin. Growing up in the state though, because I didn't grow up in the state. So I'm jealous of you right off the bat. But growing up in the state, like, did you grow up watching like Fletch and Ron Dane and like these dudes do it, like AD, and you're like, man, that's me? Or was it like, I don't know, like I love Wisconsin, but I could also see myself in Michigan?
I was on the fence with a lot. It was real tough. It was definitely between those three for sure. Because I got family in Ohio. I talked and met with a lot of the Iowa people, got close with them. And then Wisconsin, that was home where all my family and friends and all that. So it was real tough. I didn't make my decision until like the last minute I was supposed to announce where I was supposed to go in the All-American game. Just because, all those places I could see myself there and grow as a person and an individual, but came down to wanted to be home with my family where they can come see me play whenever. Another thing was like, if it was ever a family emergency, I could shoot right back down home. It's only 2 hours tops to get back home. And then what really sold me after like I committed and was there for a little bit, my dad was having surgery, and my running back coach Settle, came down with me and sat in the waiting room as my dad was having surgery and stayed there the whole time until, everything was good. So, I was very fortunate and blessed, and glad I made the right decision of going there, having a coach like that to come through.
I've met him. I loved being around him. So I could see I could see how he would do something like that. It's so weird. Like the coaches become like your like, not all the coaches, but at least the running back coach, like Brian White to me was like almost like he was like an uncle. I was like, I could ask him anything about like life, although I didn't really want to, because the more I told him, the more he could use against me, but I did love, they know everything about you. Like they really do their research. It's crazy.
Crazy thing, I got to meet him a couple of times too, Brian White. Well, I used to come up there for the battery camps.
Right.
So he would always pull me in the running back drills, put me up front, or talk with me, or just see how I'm doing. And I was kind of digging that too, being young and you seeing like the running back coach, and then everybody's looking, you see them talking to you, and then you just smiling and stuff like that. Like it felt good.
Dude, Coach White was awesome. Like I really loved him. But Settle was great too. So, okay, so let's not take a huge jump, but you get to campus and like, okay, so you made the decision. Did you put the hat on at the All-American game?
I put it on at the game and everything. And I kind of I didn't mean to do it, but I couldn't like I couldn't see, but it was kind of looked like I was going to the Iowa hat, and I kind of drifted over and grabbed the the Wisconsin hat and put it on. So I didn't want them to feel like I was like playing over nothing like that, but it was just all surreal.
Wait, so the coaches, nobody knew that you were gonna do that?
No, like I said, I didn't let anybody know until it was my turn to go up there, and I kind of text a couple coaches like, hey, you know, this is my decision I'm gonna make. And then I text that to one of the Iowa coaches, and he's like, do you have a moment to talk and this and all this other stuff? And I had to go back out in the game then, and then, you know, then I told head coach Bleav that I was heading there, and then he was like, man, you got a good poker face, because I didn't know what you was gonna do.
So one of the questions I want to ask you, you and Josh Oglesby were the same class, right?
Mm-hmm.
You guys came in together, and you guys are two of the most heralded recruits in the history of the state of Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
You guys were both number one at your position in the country that year. Did you and him ever talk about sort of like feeling that weight of expectations, you know, of coming in and expecting to be like the guy from day one?
I think, yeah, it was a little combination of it was like three of it. It was me, Josh, and then Nick Toon. We were all on the practice, if you want to say the practice squad. We've redshirted. So we was going against our number one defense every day in practice. So they was all getting a glimpse of what we can do whenever we got the opportunity. So everybody was excited, you know, after, you know, we were done on being redshirted and getting the opportunity to play. So I felt, and we all kind of felt like we had a duty to kind of put on for the state of Wisconsin, especially from being from there, born and raised, all of us, you know. And then I think it was more, I wouldn't say more pressure on Toon, just because his dad went there and he was the man. Yeah, he was the man there. So I felt like we all had that burden on our back, like, hey, you know, we highly recruited, we stayed home, so we got to bring something back, you know, championships, winning seasons, all that stuff.
Well, you guys did it. By the way, Al Toon is my dad's favorite Jet ever, which is unbelievable. But
I mean, what's the competition? Like Gastineau and who else? Like, I mean,
Testaverde, Gaston. I'm Gastineau, actually. Yeah, maybe Gastineau.
New York Sack Exchange, baby.
Bart Scott might be number one for me. I love that dude, and he's a defensive guy, which is pretty fun. All right, let's go back. Let's come back. So wait, so John, dude, so when you walk into the running backs room, what does it look like? Like, Presley was there? Was he a senior?
Yeah, he was a junior.
He was a junior. Okay,
Redshirt junior. Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, it was him. Who else was it? It was me, him, PJ Hill. Then we had Lance Smith,
Zach Brown.
Yep, he was in my class. Yep, Zach Brown.
Okay.
And then other fullback. I don't want to mess his name up. He's a police officer now, and
Josh Baltz. No, that's not right. I'm sorry, Brent Meester.
Yep.
Brent Meester. Josh Baltz is now a doctor.
And what was Brady Ewing in there too?
Yep, Brady was there. Yep, he came a little bit after me. And then you know, the running back room was crazy, man. It was you know, they used to call, when I first got there, or I was starting to play, they used to call us like the Four Horsemen. It was me, PJ Hill, Lance Smith, and then we had Zach Brown. Like, they used to call us that. And then, you know, things happened. Then PJ had left and Lance had transferred to I think Memphis. And then it was just me, Zach Brown, and then you had Monty coming, and then James White. So it was just like, you know, it was never a dull moment in the running back room. We always took care of each other, always looked after each other. You know, it was a great experience, man. It was a big competition with a lot of us, but we would never let that shadow us supporting each other out on the field. We was always celebrating with each other when somebody did something good. If it wasn't our time up, we was right there cheering for the next guy. So it was never like, you know, looking back and like, oh, I don't hope he don't do good so I can get in there. It was never none of that. It was always pushing each other to be great and do good, practice and in the game.
Yeah, I mean, just from the outside looking in, that's what it seems like. That's sort of been the like the atmosphere for a while, and that sort of continued on after you, right? Because we've all seen like the celebrations of Monty and James and Melvin when they were playing together. You saw things of when like Jonathan Taylor and the guys who were backing him up, him and Nakia Watson especially, they had some of that kind of stuff going. So it seems to be like there is this sort of like I don't want to say like collectivist mentality, but this sort of like you guys all sort of like pump each other up and aren't here to like tear each other down just for your own personal gain.
Yeah, because you never know who time it is going to shine, and you never want to rain on nobody's parade when they're doing good, because something can happen and you're the next man up, and you would want that same support that you would want. So it's like, I think that was just us. I mean, I think that's just Badgers. We always just right there, especially in the running back room, like it was just like when we say dog pound, man, that's like for life, man. That ain't nothing short that we don't hold dear to our hearts. We can, not talk to each other for 10, 15 years, and then we say something about the dog pound, man, and then the room just light up, and then it's just all fun and memories, and we just talk about what we did.
Wait, I have a fullback question. What was it like to run behind Presley? Because that dude was scary when he got there, and he must have just continued to get even more scary.
It was like, it made my job a lot easy. I mean, call him Big Prez, man. He was making things happen, man. He was very football smart and book smart. So it's like, if I needed help on anything, blitz, pickups, or whatever the case is, homework, whatever, I can always go to Prez, and he was always happy and always there to, be there in your corner to help you out and support you. So, and that's just that running back mentality, because we know we're going to need each other. So we're going to count on each other and be there to support each other.
But dude, he used to run through walls.
Yeah, he was squatting crazy when I was there. I was like, man, I'm glad I do not have to do no blitz pickups with him or any of that.
Dude, and so you went from him to Brady Ewing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's fair. I mean, it's great, but
I think there was a year of Rentmeester in there too.
Yeah.
Rentmeester was a beast also.
Yeah, he was a bruiser. Him and Prez was bruisers, man. And Brady was that, finesse guy and that utility guy that we needed for anything. Like he'll make the big block for us, and then he'll get him out our way. He wasn't a punisher like the other two, but he would definitely do his part to make our job easy. Like I said, him, Perez, and all of they all was smart. Like they know where you're supposed to be and what they're supposed to do. They know their job and they'll do their job, and it was all on us to finish it.
Dude, we used to, because it's funny how we have these overlapping. So it was me, Prez, Josh Baltz, Rentmeester, Greg Root, and all of us were nobody was a Brady Ewing. Everyone was physical, like downhill, like put your helmet on somebody else's helmet. So I just like every time somewhere you're like, dude, get it, man, like make us proud. And I felt bad for I just felt bad for dudes, because it wasn't like there was no drop off like of physicality. People just wanted to hit you. And it got worse and worse.
I'm like, I'm so glad I'm not a fullback. Yeah. All that banging, I could not do it.
But dude, from your highlights, you ran a lot of powers and you ran them very well.
Oh yeah. And it's just, I think it's once, got comfortable in the system, and then you kind of, as a running back, you can kind of see the play developing as it's going, or you have it in your mind that this is where it's going to be, and 9 times out of 10 that's what it is. And you're just going with the flow of things, and everything sets up how it's supposed to go, and you set it up how you want to. And then it's just like magic, man. It's just, everything just falls in place.
Dude, so we have to mention, in 2009, you were the player of the year in the Big Ten.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, so you are in the same category as only 2 other Badgers, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Ron Dane and was it Fletcher?
Jonathan Taylor.
Oh, I'm sorry, but this was right before. Before Fletcher, right? So only 3 running backs. Like, that's so cool. Yeah, obviously Jonathan Taylor, but I meant up to that point. I'm sorry.
I didn't even know that. That's very. I remember that day when Coach B called me and was like, I'm talking to the, offensive player of the year. And this is when like I was hurt because I felt like I lost the Northwestern game because I fumbled the ball and they got it and we wasn't able to stop them. So like, man, I was crushed. I was like, I'm not even worried about no award. I was like, man, I let my team down and, my team came and rallied behind me and picked me right up. I was like, man, don't ever think you did that by yourself. And, this is a team thing and, we all messed up. And then the great thing is we had another game to play. So we got to go to Hawaii and play. So then I was able to kind of redeem myself a little bit playing in Hawaii and getting the win. I think it was between me and the Northwestern quarterback at the time.
Rep Bazinet.
Yeah.
So
me and him.
You're looking for, by the way, Maddie, it was Ron Dane and Brent Moss.
Brent Moss.
I
love that guy. But yes, okay. Sorry.
No, yeah, it was between I think it was between me and him, and I was like, oh yeah, he got it now. Like he beat us and everything else. So, I guess things happen for a reason. I got another chance to show my opportunity and we did good. We won. I had a good game. And then, that's when Coach B called and was like, I'm talking to the offensive player of the Big Ten right here. I was like, are you serious right now? Like, I got it. So, I was very surprised and, knowing that it was a short list at the time, being a Badger, being able to win it. And I was like, that made it even more special.
I mean, that 2009 season just was, that's one of the best seasons in the history of the program for a running back. I mean, you led the Big Ten in every category: rushing yards, yards from scrimmage, touchdowns from scrimmage, like, points. You ran everything like that year. You were running rush out over it. What do you think it was that sort of really helped you blossom that season?
I think it was just getting comfortable in that offense and not second guessing myself. I always kind of did that because I used to, I wouldn't say rush things, but I wanted to always have a home run play just to show people that I'm just not, just a bruiser and I can run in between the tackles and I don't have no breakaway speed. And I think after, a while, because it was me and Zach Brown rotating. Actually, he started, I think, like the first 3-4 games or something like that. And people kept questioning me. It was like, how do you feel about that? Are you mad about that? I was like, I don't care. I'm like, it's just, he starts. That's fine. I was like, I'm still, gonna do my job. I was like, I'm still getting 25, 30 carries a game, and I'm coming off the bench. I'm like, I was like, all it was to me, it was like, it's just saying that you was a starter, and that's it. Like, it didn't bother me.
That's the beautiful thing about being a running back at Wisconsin, right? I mean, even if you're number 2, number 3 on the depth chart, you're still getting plenty of touches.
Oh yeah, yeah. And the good thing is, like, man, like I said, we just had a great bond in that running back group, man. It was never anyone trying to overshadow anybody, and we just having fun out there, and we just celebrating with each other.
The O-line was pretty good too, though, weren't they?
That's pretty decent, man. Pretty decent. And then, like I tell people, man, I was like, I was blessed and fortunate to play with 3-4 first round picks, second round picks. It was like I had an offensive line that I wouldn't trade for the world, and I go to war with. I was telling that to this day, like, man, I go to war with you guys over anybody. I wouldn't choose. It was just always close, and I always, hung out with the skill players and also hung out with my offensive linemen. I mean, it was always, we was out kicking in, eating, whatever the case was. And we was really close that year. Now, I think that's what really helped me grow big time. We was just real close as an overall group, from the offensive sinking, from the tight ends, wide receivers, quarterback, anything you name it. We all had some part of hanging out with each other, even having ugly sweater parties. We did that, It was just always something, doing things together as a family. And I think that's what really helped me blossom as a runner that year, for sure. Just being able to say, like, we was a real close family.
So I've got to ask you, out of all of those offensive ones, because I know, there's always one who's a little bit off, right? Who's a little bit crazier than the rest. Maddie, for you, I know it was Clink. He was just a little bit crazier than the rest.
Maybe not crazier, but he, I think Donovan was crazy.
Okay.
Like if I had to he was all over the place. Clink was just more like super just relaxed until something happened and he didn't like it. And then it was like, he'll come over and say something, but he was a bad dude on the field. Never said anything though. But we did have that. Who had that story where he's like, what was it? AD? He's like, Brooks would never tell him what the snap count is on. He'd just leave. But that's something he would do, right? Like that. John, I think I know who you're gonna say.
I think you probably do too.
I know who you're gonna say too.
That's my guy, man. John Moffitt, man.
I was about to frame it as who was the craziest guy and why is it John Moffitt?
Yeah.
He was just, man, he was a character, man. I mean, like he would set the tone, like for sure. And it was just always, we just had fun, man. It was just always never a dull moment on the field or off the field. Like he would always be the first one to come pick me up off the ground. Like I never had to get up off the ground by myself. I had my offensive lineman coming to pick me up every time, every play. And then he was always the main one coming. And it was just, when we all got together, man, we just had a blast, man, from on the field, off the field, no matter what. It was never a dull moment. And, as you guys know, he's very entertaining. So
very entertaining. You ever see this meme? It's on all the time. It's like this one dude said he got kicked out of a bar in 1970 and they're like, oh, in 30 years, he hasn't been back. And he walked in and they were like, get out of here, Peter. You're not allowed in here. I feel like that's Moffitt a lot of places. Like,
I'm pretty sure.
Hey, dude, you can't come back here in 30 years.
We remember you. We got a picture of you.
Dude, one of my buddies played with him on the Seahawks. And he was like, dude, like even as far as like NFL go, he's just a different breed of person. Like just you don't mess with Moffitt.
Oh, yeah. He was definitely my go-to guy, man. He was my guy, man.
So who did they have you rooming with freshman year? When you first gets there, who are you rooming with?
My freshman year,
did they put you with Zach because you guys were both freshman running backs?
No, Zach I think he was there before me. So he was rooming with somebody else. I had another running back at the time. His name was Quincy Lanningham. Yeah, he was there, and then he had transferred, and then I roommate with a tight end that came in. I just lost his name just that fast. He came in early for his year, his freshman year. So I was rooming with him, and then after that, man, I got my own place. After my freshman year, and they told us we can have our own place and apartment and all that stuff. I lived by myself my whole time I was there. I know other people stay with roommates. I just wanted my peace, just in case my family would come up. They had a place to stay. They had to worry about anything. And then, like when we went traveling, my roommate was Lance Kendricks on the roads and all that stuff. So we was roommates for a couple years, and then they switched it up, and then me and Monty Ball became roommates my last year.
Dude, what's it like? Obviously, your stature's through the roof. Then they got Monte Ball come in, and then James White the follow. Like, how cool is that room? Like that exploding with athleticism and just awesome football players.
It was like I said, man, it was fun to see what each one of us would do out there on the field, because we know either way it went, whoever got the opportunity, it was going to be something special, whoever touched the ball. And that my last year, we were like, 40 yards or something like that from Monty to having 3 running backs be over 1,000 yards in 1 year. And then it was crazy. And then we all had double-digit touchdowns that year, almost close to 3 of us all over 1,000 yards. So it was always something special when something was going to happen whenever one of us touched the ball. So, it's always the excitement in the training rooms and in a running back room watching film. And, cracking jokes and talking about each other. Like, hey man, you just missed that and this and that. So it was like always fun in there. It was always having a good time.
I just think that's so cool. And it kind of set the tone for, I want to say, like, we've always had a good running back, obviously, but to have multiple good running backs, I think that was the first year you really had so many dudes who could play, who would probably be starters at any other school. And you guys push each other to all be better and not transfer and not, shy away from it. I think that's so special. And then Melvin Gordon came and it was those three. And then, it's still going on today. And I thought this year we would have had that, but we'll get to that. But dude, just what, like, one, I watched your highlights today, and you hurdling the Michigan guy is like my favorite thing. I had to rewind that a bunch of times. Like, your style of play, you were a physical dude, but you also had breakaway speed. And when I was watching it, I was like, dude, look at his feet are fast. I was like, man, these are fast feet. And everyone thinks of you as like a bigger guy, so you didn't have that speed. What do you think was special? Like, do you think people underestimated your speed? They thought you were just a bruiser, like, I'm going to run people over, and then you hit them with like the second gear. Like, what was that like?
Absolutely. That was like the biggest misconception about me. People forget I used to run track. Like, I was a 100-yard sprinter. I ran like a 10-6 in 100 and all that stuff. It's like they saw my size and it was like, oh, he's slow. And then a couple teams got to see it. I know I had a nice breakaway from who was that? I Bleav it was the Vegas team we played.
UNLV.
Yeah, UNLV.
Yeah, UNLV. I took off on them for a 70-yard touchdown, and then the same year we played against Miami. I was like, oh, he won't get over 50-yard run against Miami, and I got over 50-yard breakaway run on them. So it's like people, yeah, they would just think I was just a big bruiser, and I couldn't hit the home run ball if I needed to, and I was able to show it a couple times, and kind of shocked a couple of people, like, he's that big and he can move that fast. So it's like, it was always good to, switch it up and, be able to, open my stride out and show everybody what I can do. So, that was definitely a thing people thought I could never do and get away. And so that's why they thought they had to be more prepared for the little running backs, because they had that, home run speed.
So your redshirt junior year, you guys had another excellent season and you guys made it to the Rose Bowl. So what was your Rose Bowl experience like?
It was amazing, man. I never got to experience anything like that, from the parades to, going to the all you can eat restaurants. I mean, we had the bowl where, whoever ate the most food and blah, 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 all that stuff. I never got to experience none of that. The bowl gifts, just being in that kind of atmosphere. I never had the opportunity to do that. And, I got to travel a lot of places because of football, and I'm very fortunate to be able to do that from different bowl games that I played in. So, being in California, that was my first time ever really being in there, going, on the rides and see all the different, sceneries and things like that. It was real cool, man. And, I was truly grateful for it.
Yeah, so as a fan, that was my first Rose Bowl that I attended in person.
Okay.
So I remember that game quite vividly. I'm still mad at Andy Dalton, but
me and you both, don't worry.
But did it feel like, was there like a different feeling sort of like on the field? Because it's like, even in the stadium, it is a magical feeling. It feels different than any other stadium I've ever been in.
Was that TCU?
Especially, yeah, it was TCU.
Yeah.
Oh, I was at that game also. It's
Oh.
my first Rose Bowl attendance.
But all three of us said it was our first Rose Bowl.
Do not like Andy Dalton also because of that.
It was man, that field, man, it was crazy, man. It was like the crowd, it was like electrifying. When I started playing a little more in the game and had a couple big back-to-back runs, and I could just feel like the momentum shifting and the crowd roaring, and I was like, I gassed myself out because I was so hyped up and like I was just yelling and everything. I had to come out for a play just to catch my breath. It was just fun, man. Like, when the shift started changing and Wisconsin crowds getting into it and the roaring and you see the fans and you see them high-fiving and hugging and stuff. And it just fire you up. I'm getting chills now thinking about it, just how special that moment was and having that moment. And we was driving down the field and it was just going nuts. And, it was definitely a great experience and I will forever remember that.
Yeah, I mean, you scored a touchdown in the Rose Bowl. How many people can say that? Not a lot.
Yeah, that's
pretty special.
True, yeah. So
that's pretty special.
Got a lot of great memories, yeah.
And you've done a lot of pretty cool things.
So
then what? Oh, sorry,
go ahead,
Maddie, go for it.
Oh,
no, you go for it, Maddie.
Okay, fine. I was gonna say you, Maddie, go for it. No,
you, Maddie.
So, in Camp Randall Stadium, what is your most treasured or your most favorite memory as a Badger?
Actually, I got a couple. Of course, being in my first time playing there as a high school, being able to touch that field and really run on the college field, and then also, of course, you gotta have beating the number one team in the country, and your field had a night game with all the world watching and
Gilreath taking him to the house on the opening kickoff. Ooh,
you had game day there. You had all the people. I think the announcers even picked us to win the game and everything. So it was just crazy. And then also, like, I got the photo of the year when we played against, was it Michigan? And they got the cover of my visor with having the Michigan defensive line on there and then my offensive lineman and stuff like that. So it was very, I got a lot of great memories there, man. It's just, it's very special for me to go back to Camp Randall all the time.
Dude, that picture is so cool.
Yeah.
It is unbelievably awesome.
An amazing photo.
And then I didn't know it was it's like in some museum in Chicago or some art gallery in Chicago. I didn't even know it was in there. Somebody sent it to me. It's like, does this look familiar? I was like, oh yeah, where's that at? So it's telling me it was in Chicago. I'm like, oh wow, I didn't know that.
It's at the MoMA. It's at the Modern Museum of Art. That's where it should be.
It was great, man. I got it too. My mom got it. I think they put it in the stadium somewhere. So it's very memorable stuff, man.
Dude, that's so cool. So what was your favorite? You don't have to tell me your favorite out of Camp Randall, but what does a John Clay do? Like, I'm sure everyone knows who you are, recognize you. Like, what does a John Clay do? Like, do you go to the bars? Do you go to the library? Is it weird?
When I was there at school?
Yeah. Well, if it's weird now, dude, you made a real big mark.
Yeah. Yeah. When I was up there, man, we was always doing something together, man. If it was going out, we was always in a group. It was never solo trips or nothing like that. It was always together, man. And man, we had a blast every time we went out. How Wisconsin is. It's never a dull moment. And just being out there, especially, after we beat the number one school in the country, and it was already nighttime, so everybody was already, juiced up from the whole game and then going out. And then that night was just crazy with fans and people, and we had even Ohio State fans in there high-fiving us, and it was just surreal. Like, we just knocked their number one school out, and they was just thankful to even kick it and party with us. So it was nuts, man. It was real cool, man. And then on top of that, I didn't know at the time that was the first time they let a 100-yard rusher on them in so many years. So I broke that streak, and I didn't even know it until they made a big deal on TV and stuff. And then my coaches and all them was letting me know. I was like, oh shoot, well, there's a lot of good things going on Saturday.
Well, that's good to know that we've had a few of the same experiences in 7, 8 years apart. Because that happened in 2003 when we beat Ohio State. They were coming off their national championship. Dude, it was bananas. It was nuts. That's when I was drinking a beer with Herb Street. These things would never happen unless I went and played football at the University of Wisconsin.
Oh yeah, and then they was out Friday night, and then got to see a couple of them Saturday. It was crazy, man. Like you see the people on TV, and then you cheersing with them, and then and then you just go your own ways after that point.
It's a bizarre, yes. The night cannot get any better than like cheersing with like Fowler and Herbstreit and Aaron Andrews.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know where it goes from there. I mean, it goes from me waking up in my bed wondering how I got there. That's how that happened. But so John, stellar obvious career at Wisconsin. Then you get picked up by the Steelers. Like, what's that transition like? What's going through your head?
I was nervous, man. Starting back from the bottom, pretty much. You come from being a man, and then you back at the bottom, carrying shoulder pads up the hill, like being a rookie and stuff. So it was crazy, but it wasn't. I would have to get lunch, breakfast, the whole rookie thing. Like we had home games, I had to make sure, our room had like Popeye's chicken, whatever the case is. Home games, I would get breakfast for our running back group, and it was never nothing too wild. But I had a great experience. I got to play next to Troy Polamalu, Ryan Clark, Lamar Willie, all those guys, Roethlisberger, Pouncey, you name it. Like I was all in the same area with them. Was lockers next to like Pouncey and Willie Colon and all them. So I would have to pay taxes. I had to pay taxes for my locker, but I had to bring them candy. I had to make sure they had candy in their locker. Like Willie Colon, he wanted gummy bears. Ty, he wanted like white chocolate, like kisses or something like that. It was just like some random stuff I would have to just put in their lockers, and that was my taxes for staying in the locker over there. So it was fun, man. They didn't do too much crazy stuff like other NFL teams do. It was a real cool experience.
Dude, that is really cool.
Yeah.
Did you like Pittsburgh?
I did, man. It reminded me of Wisconsin. Just a blue collar, hard nosed working town. Like we just do our job and go home. Like it was just that kind of environment. Weather the same way. It just reminded me of home and just how laid back it is, and then yet hardworking people there that's there to do a job and then go home. Yeah. And that's what it reminded me of. And I was blessed and fortunate. I got to actually score a touchdown Christmas Eve after I got put up off the practice squad, got signed to the 53-man roster, and got to score on Christmas Eve right when I first NFL everything, first play, touching on the field, first offensive play, and I got to score, man. It was like my mom's got to see it. They got the game ball. My mom and dad got the football that I score with. They have it. So it's just, football has been taking me to different journeys, and, I'm very blessed on the journey I've been going through with it.
Are you still involved with the game at all these days? You coaching or anything like that?
No, I go see people here and there. I'm just a competitor, man. I don't know, the coaching, I wanted to try, but just like for me personally, if people can't get it right away, then it's like you only have to show me once and then I get it. It's just like I'm like that kind of guy. Like I need to just show you a couple times and you should have it. No questions. So that's my patience. My patience does not do good with coaching.
You think Settle would say the same thing about you? Like, yeah, you picked it up pretty quickly.
Yeah, I got it pretty good. And the crazy thing was like, he was the only coach that never cussed at us.
Really?
Coach Settle never swore.
Wow.
He would make up words. He would never swear. He'd be like, gosh darn it, or something. I'm like, what did he say? Like he was just a different character and a different breed. And man, like he changed everything for me too, also.
Yeah. We had a coach in the arena ball who would never curse. And he would just be like, he would look like he's about to MF everyone. And then he'd just be like, golly. And honestly, like I took that. Like I love saying it because, to be honest, like to constantly keep cursing, I'm like, huh. I read an article that it's only smart people curse, but I don't know. That could have been a Facebook article.
Yeah,
I don't think that's the. I don't think
I don't know about
think
that
that's,
one, guys.
You can find anything on Google, by the way. But so then that's what I took away. I was like, every time something happens, I'm like, golly, do you hear that? You know, like
it just grow on you.
And you start doing it as a joke, and then you're like that's all in my head, I do it like 500 times a day.
Yep, just randomly for no reason.
Yeah. Like, golly. So John, I have to ask you, since we're in the season, we've seen the emergence of someone who a lot of people are saying resembles your type of game. Does that, I mean, I told you that before. I don't know if you've heard it, but does that make you proud? Like, what is that?
Yeah, I heard that. A couple of people said that, and they tagged me in a whole bunch of stuff. Like, he reminded of somebody else that runs like that. And, you know, I feel honored, you know, that people even still kind of remember what I did there. And then, of course, he's a special guy. You know, he hasn't even touched his potential. And I'm just looking forward to seeing him grow. You know, it's always good to be compared or get compared to somebody. And, you know, like I said, he's going to do great things there. And just be mentioned and kind of say he favors some of the stuff I did. It kind of makes me feel good that I made an impression on the Wisconsinites back in Madison.
Dude, not just Madison. I'm getting texts from dudes in New York who graduated like 20 years ago. Like, people are like, this is John Clay, but upgraded. And I don't mean that in any disrespectful way.
I know.
This dude just, I mean, you ever see a picture of him? It's like he has no, it's just all muscle. Like his shoulder pads don't even fit him. And they're probably the biggest shoulder pads they have. Like, I look at him, I'm like, man, I would never touch. I don't even want to play football anymore.
So, crazy thing I was telling you earlier, he's only, 17?
Mm-hmm.
Like he hasn't even started even really developing. Right. So he's still got a couple more years even growing. So you know, you don't know what his potential can be, but the tone he's setting right now, it's going to be something special for a couple more years. Wisconsin fans are going to have something special to see.
Yeah, even if he just plateaus right now, which I don't think will happen. The dude is amazing.
Yeah, he's like you said, you got the speed, you got the power, you got people bouncing off of him. Like, you know, defenders thinking, what can they do? And you can't gain tackle because he's dragging. You know, you can't 1-on-1. He's either dropping his shoulder or you bouncing off of his quads or his shoulders. So it's quads. Like what can you do besides?
So just what you're saying, it reminds me of this guy called John Clay.
Exactly. I mean, I am the person who's been banging this exact drum since day one. Matt will attest to this.
Yep.
I said the first time I got there, I said people saying, "Oh, he reminds me of Jonathan Taylor." He reminds me of, no, he's John Clay. Like, let's not get it twisted. Like, he's John Clay, and like that is one of the highest compliments I can give as a Badger fan. That he runs and plays like John Clay, because that is that is a beautiful thing.
There's nobody saying, "Oh, that kid reminds me of Matt Bernstein" out there.
Because maybe that's special. You're that special.
Because you're special, man.
No, that listen, I appreciate you guys. You guys are the worst liars, is what you guys are.
Not true. Not true.
But John, so if you're looking at the running back group, dude. So what? I mean, I think I have like a thought about this, but the room at the beginning of the season has drastically changed. Even before, we had two guys got kicked off the team.
Two true freshmen, yeah.
Two for fighting each other
with a knife.
Jalen Berger got dismissed. Malusi's hurt. Garendo's hurt. The three people who play in the game, I would have never thought. But what do you think? Like, you had it kind of different because you had guys come in who were like great Badgers who wanted to play football and pushed you guys. What do you think that room is like? And how on earth does a 17-year-old kid like persevere through like all this banana stuff going on?
I think it just shows his maturity and his mentality. That next man up mentality. I think he probably takes that with stride, and he knows it's all on him. I mean, the ball's in his court, and it's up to him what he wants to do. If he wants to be that guy, or he just wants to be a guy, it's what he wants to do. And obviously, he's taking the reins and running crazy with it right now. So he definitely wants to be the guy. So he's taking everything in stride, and I'm sure. I can't say for sure how the running back room is. They're probably maybe still trying to figure it out. That they're young. They're the go-to people they wanted or had went down or is gone. So they kind of up in limbo, and he stepped up and he said, "Put it on my shoulders, and I'll lead us home. I'll do what I need to." So I see what he's doing, and he's doing great with it.
Dude, what would you say if you could give him some just advice?
I'll say like the only advice I would kind of say is, try not to put so much pressure on himself. He may not be, but he's still learning, still developing, still learning every day. Things change in the game, and he seems like he knows how to adjust to the game, and he'll fully get comfortable and develop in that offense after a summer or just being locked in, committed, not having to worry about anything, and just focus on just football and learning the schemes and doing all that. I think my biggest thing I used to tell people or other running backs that I see, and they ask me questions and stuff like that. I used to tell them, like, I think I wouldn't say my downfall, or one of my things that kind of hurt me was I never really tried any special teams, or never even went that route, because I was a guy, so I had to do all the extra stuff, and I didn't have to go on the extra meetings. But when I got to the pros, that's what I was always doing. So I never really had a understanding of it until I was like a year in there, and I finally started understanding. But I used to tell people, just make sure you go in the meetings, or you try to get on some special teams, and also show them that you want to be a 3-down back. Like, I was always the back that first, second, depending on what the third was, I'll be out there. But I had some hands, but I never got a chance to display them. That's because they just wanted me to be the bruiser, and I was just perfectly fine with it. So, and that kind of hurt me, not wanting to put myself out there more and learn more. And I feel like if he gets a handle on that, because I don't know if he's down, in there on 3rd and longs, just because they want to use him as a bruiser or whatever the case, just want him to run the ball. So I would say, if anything I can give him, just make sure he's in this playbook and learning the blitz pickups, and making sure he show them that he can be that 3rd down back and be all 3-down back. And that'll take him to the next level also when they see it, so they just don't have him one-dimensional.
If anything, just getting reps at that, at those plays, pass routes, get in the jugs machine, just do whatever you can. I totally agree with that. I think that's great advice. I think he was on a lot of the special teams to start the season.
He was.
But, practicing, a couple months, and then, but I agree, that's great advice. Because in the NFL, if you're not the guy, like, you will be a special teams dude.
And sure. What I was taught, like, if you're not starting on maybe 2 or 3 of the 4 special teams, you're not even on a 53-man roster. So it's like, you got to make sure you hold your weight to being on that 53-man roster, because the next guy is waiting for you to mess up so he can take that food off your plate. So I would say with anything, just making sure that he knows his blitz pickups, and that takes time, and watching film and learning, and that'll all come from being a running back and having those study sessions with his RB coach, and doing that kind of thing.
All right. Well, I know we're running short on time here, so I'm just going to go a couple rapid fire questions to wrap this up. All right. Favorite running play?
That'd be Fire Panther, man. got the pulling guard, and then I got my fullback coming right through the B gap with me. So I'm going Fire Panther.
All right. Biggest physical freak that you played with?
Pros or in general?
Both.
Do one of each. Yeah.
Okay, so pros, obviously it was Harrison.
James Harrison. I mean, he might be the biggest physical freak in the history of the NFL.
Yeah, he's different. And then I was saying college. I would have to say it was definitely. I would even say it was Prez for sure. My fullback Prez.
Yeah, pretty good choice.
Seeing him
there.
push the weight he pushed, that was pretty impressive.
Hardest hit you took?
Hardest hit I took had to be from my own teammate, Jonathan Casillas. He knocked me out in practice. and the thing was, he knocked me. He didn't knock me out, but I jumped back up, and I could not see anything. It was spinning like I was like, man, no. I was a freshman. And I was like, nah, I'm not going out like that. So I jumped up right away, looked a little woozy, and walked back to the huddle and just stood in there. And then it was like, oh, just come out. And I came out and all that stuff. But I was like, nah, I can't go out like that. But it was definitely JC, Jonathan Casillas. And it was a crazy, after watching the video, it wasn't even like a hard, like crazy different hit. It just hit me a certain way and it just kind of concussed me a little bit.
Pre-game meal.
I ate light. Maybe have some eggs and maybe like some bacon or something like that. I just never wanted to go heavy out there on the field and blow chunks or something if I get hit the wrong way. So
don't want to pull Donovan McNabb out there.
No.
All right. Finally, what does John Clay listen to pump himself up before he goes out in the field?
I'm a little different, man. I don't mind listening to some little R&B before I get out there.
All right, does it get you in the zone?
Yeah, I get a little R&B in there. I got a couple, I put a little T.I. and stuff on like DMX, get that going, and then sometimes I got to mellow it out a little bit.
I'm curious, who's on your R&B? Who's on your pregame R&B playlist? Are we talking like old school? Or is like Curtis Mayfield? Are we going a little more modern? Like
it's all little Trey Songz and Chris Brown, man.
Okay.
We gotta get it even out. Yeah.
I like that. I'm here for that. Oh man. Well, listen, John, thank you like so much for hanging out with us here today.
Yeah, man. I really appreciate it, man. And I'm loving the show. I'm loving my former Badgers and former teammates talking on here, and just getting their side of everything they went through. And, it's great seeing it and watching it, each and every week, man. I appreciate you guys. You guys are doing a great job of keeping us all together, Well,
John, we and me especially love you. I think the last time I saw you was at Monte's golf outing and you were smoking a cigar and you were the putter guy. Yeah. And I was like, man, you know how I know John Clay was no joke? He's the putter guy. Like he's that VIP. I'm playing, like I'm just like driving around playing. But dude, that's where I met Melvin Gordon. And I'll tell you what, he was like, he's taller than me. What is he, like 6'2", 6'3"? He was a monster truck.
Yeah. And then, we're right down the street from each other. So that's crazy.
Man, that's crazy. Dude, you are like, you lost some weight and you're like, I was like, John, dude, what are you doing? And you're like, man, I just get in the gym a little bit. And I'm like, those arms, that's not fair. Like you can't have that body structure right now. But good for you, man. I'm just so happy. Like, I can't wait to see you. First and second and third beer is most likely on me. And maybe one or two cigars.
You know how we go. We rotate, man. You get one round, I get the other, man. You know how I go.
Okay, fine. All right.
Great
dude,
stuff.
but we got to have you back on. We really appreciate it, dude.
Man. Anytime, man. You got my number, man. I love talking to you
play.
guys, man. It was fun, man.
It'll take me 10 minutes to find it because I'm going to be like, John Clay doesn't show up in my phone anymore.
Also, it's Axe Week. Prediction for the game.
Oh.
And do you have a favorite Minnesota memory? I know we're wrapping it up. I know this came off the top of my head though. Like, I mean, it's the game.
Say, it was like Camp
Randall. You never lost to Minnesota.
No, it was Camp Randall, and I took somebody's helmet off with a stiff arm in the end zone.
Oh, right. That's a pretty darn good one.
Definitely. That was a good one.
Oh man, the good old days, running around with the axe.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Nothing better.
Classics, man.
Did they still play like in the locker room, the axe like being run around at different fields? Back and forth all week, right? You couldn't watch Sports Center or anything.
No, yeah, it was at my time there, they had to pull up old footage of them running around with the axe. So they did. I think we didn't lose it for like, what was that? I think it was like almost.
They lost. They lost in 2000, and you lost in 2003, Matt. I blame you. And then they didn't lose for 16 years, and they lost in 2019.
Yeah. See, I remember like it was a long time before they got it, and it was like, you know what, that's all right. It's been a while since they had it, so we let them have it. Got it back the next year, and that was it. Yeah.
Listen, it was the most depressing thing to watch the kicker kick a field goal to win, to run and touch. Like, I like kickers, but like not that much. Like this dude did hardly anything in the game but kick the game winner and then ran over. He's like the first one holding the axe. And I saw the kick go up and I just ran off the field. I'm like, I'm not touching anyone. I'm not going near anyone. I ran in there. I was like, man, I was just so pissed that we lost in that fashion. And dude, Matt Perkins likes to bring up at the very end of these podcasts terrible memories.
It's my job.
I'm gonna go to sleep and have a freaking nightmare because of this.
Just mad.
I am mad, John. Okay.
Yeah, I understand.
Never lost the axe. I watched you look at the They don't take the trophy case away. It sits in there empty. It's such a mean thing to do. Every day it's demoralizing to look at. And they have a shadow in there. So it looks it's like it's a shadow in
this
there.
Is where it's supposed to be, but it's not.
Every day you look at it, and my locker faced it. So every day I was like, look at that shadow. That sucks.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I suck. I don't know if it was like more like it didn't like be like, dude, you gotta lift stronger today to make sure you win that back. I was looking at like, man, we lost that. Like I suck. I mean, the year after we destroyed them, it was like 50 to like 20, but still. And then that 05 year was bananas when we blocked the punt to win. I mean, that
was insane.
Insane.
It was absolutely insane.
All right. Well, go to sleep, guys.
Yep.
It's a pleasure, John. I hope to see you soon. Good luck with everything. Your daughter's beautiful, by the way.
Thanks, I appreciate it. Same with you.
I can't wait to introduce. I mean, they're almost the same. They're the same age. Yeah. So we're gonna have two wild women running around. You and I are just gonna be sitting like drinking a beer, smoking a cigar.
Have a couple of beers. Yep. I don't break nothing now.
Exactly.
All right. Well, thanks so much, John. And until next time, on Wisconsin.
On Wisconsin.
All right, on Wisconsin. Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, guys.
John.
Thanks, John.